Good morning, evening, or afternoon, everybody. It's Kaghoe coming at you with another video. So today I'm going to be going over an amazing tier list for Season of Discovery and just what I think they got right for classes, roles, and just all of the things that they decided to do and the choices they made. This is not reflective of where they fall on a DPS meter. This tier list is not based off of any numerical value, just the idea of the roles and how they sort of played out throughout all of Season of Discovery, where they did, the ones that shined above and beyond and the ones that did not. But before we get into the video, be sure to tell your mothers Happy Mother's Day and that you love them. You never know how much time you have with your mother, and, I have one of the best ones ever, and they've pretty much supported me and allowed me to become Kaghoe, and I could have done it without them. So, without further ado, let's switch it over to the video. Voop. So we are here on our wonderful tier list thumbnail page, and we are just going to dive right into it. So the very first one, an S tier, is going to be Shaman. Now this might surprise you, especially if you're an Alliance player, but Shamans have been sort of the hero class, if you will, in all of Season of Discovery, and it has allowed even new roles to expand, as well as take on its normal roles of Elemental DPS, Enhancement Shaman, and not just be a resto healing bot that they are in normal classic WoW. I think tanking Shaman was one of the most absolutely best things they have added into Season of Discovery. All the new roles here, you're going to find that common theme of the classes that got full-on new roles. They will be ranked high because those new roles are awesome and completely new ways to innovate the game, and I think they win over really well. Every time I am looked for a tank to fill my raid roster, I have about 20 Shaman tanks DMing me. My guild is 40% Shamans here on the Horde, covering every role, and we have like 8 to 9 in every single raid that we do. That is how dominant Shamans are and how great of a class they have been. And then on the counterpart to this should shock absolutely no one. See what I did there? Paladin is going to be S tier. Paladin, as well as Shaman, didn't get new roles because Paladin does have key roles. Well, it actually did get one new role very, very recently with Shakaden. They messed around with it in ZG, but it didn't fully become Shakaden until we saw it a little bit later here in Scarlet Enclave. So with Enclave coming out, Shakaden is now a real thing. But same thing with Shaman. They made all the roles viable, so at endgame they weren't just Holy, because Holy was the only one you could do. Now you can actually play a viable Ret Paladin, you can play a Prot Paladin, and you can play Shakaden here in Season of Discovery, and I think those are really key, and turning Shamans and Paladins into these well-beloved hero classes, whether they took a lot of their kits from TBC and Wrath and further on, or they just completely made up new ones and innovated with, as I've said, Shakaden. Just 10 out of 10 did a phenomenal job with these classes, and I think if Classic Plus has anything like these classes in them, I think it is going to be a very wonderful hit and experience. Then at A tier, we have our first class, and I'm going to put Mage at A tier, mainly because while its fire and frost specs were pretty cool, it was nothing we haven't seen. It pretty much straight up took from TBC or Wrath of the Lich King iterations for those. Nothing crazy. Living Flame was pretty cool to put the fire there. I don't even know if that's from retail or not, but I've never seen it before. But that was really cool in Phase 1 and allowed mages to do even more mage things. The main reason I have them at A tier is because those things aren't really crazy new. However, Healer Mage, very new, very interesting concept. Definitely reminds me of Retail Disc Priest and how it has been sort of utilized and turned into like this do damage to heal sort of spec. I personally absolutely despise that playstyle, and it takes so much energy and focus to nail, but some people really do enjoy that, and that is 100% a personal thing for me. If I was, while raid leading and streaming, that already takes enough of my attention. I could definitely not play a healer mage and play it well to any regard. So while I didn't really dabble in it too much, I do have the spec and have used it to do like 10 mans off stream when I'm just chilling, and it has been really enjoyable and was a really cool innovation of a new class and role and spec. Then the next one is going to be Hunter at A tier. Hunters have been really, really awesome, and they have like Beast Mastery dominated in Phase 1, which is really cool to see, like a new take on BM where it's actually viable and something that you use a ton. While it did have a plethora of problems when we got later on to raids and pets just simply getting one shot and dying, overall I think Hunter was super cool. And then Melee Hunter actually becoming a thing here in Season of Discovery was really, really cool. And I know most Ashbringers go to Warriors and Paladins, but we're completing a Hunter Ashbringer in our second raid, and I cannot wait for him to get that and experience it. It's going to be super cool to see a Melee Hunter with an Ashbringer and just see how much damage it does and if it's any cool. Kind of like a little side thing that would be really interesting to see, and I think it'll be quite awesome. Hunters as well, just super cool innovation, super new role, and pretty much Hunters have been in the top of the DPS meter as one of the only pure DPS classes in Season of Discovery. They've always been at that. They actually are the only one now, since mages can heal and rogues and warlocks can tank. So really cool to see that and always see them pump, and I thought they did a great job with Melee Hunter and what they did with Beast Mastery. The next one is going to be Warlock at A tier. So Warlock was super great, and I think they did awesome with the tanking Warlock spec, as well as they made Destro Fire really solid, which they did take for most things, but making Affliction work in Classic with how debuffs work and all of the dots and just how the game works in Classic is not great for Affliction Lock, and that's why you don't really see it shine until TBC or Wrath of the Lich King. And so what they did with Lock, I think, in Season of Discovery, mainly with the tanking role and allowing its 2 DPS roles to take on unique, new, fun, exciting ways, and even putting in Demonic Pact and the Demonology role as well was super cool. So the Warlocks have had a very nice time in Season of Discovery. Shadow Bolt Volley, really awesome AoE. I'm shocked they didn't just give them Seed of Corruption, but then you have the debate of, do you get TBC Seed of Corruption, or do you get Wrath of the Lich King Seed of Corruption, which, if you know what I mean there. But anyway, the next one that I'm going to talk about is Druid. So Druid, this might shock you, but I'm putting it at B tier for 2 reasons. One, most of everything, while Druid got 4 unique specs, and it was awesome to see them all shine, and instead of them being a jack of all trades, master of none, and just kind of being meh at everything and more of a utility spec that we see, like you take a cat for the feral buff, you take a boomkin for the boomkin buff, like that is the only reason you take them. Druid kits, they didn't really innovate on them, right? They didn't really get much things that were really new or exciting or different. They really just kind of took their Wrath and TBC kits and ported them over into Classic. And I know it might be a little hard to make Druid super exciting, super unique, but pretty much everything that they got from what I've seen, like the Feral Druid and tanking on it, like it straight up plays exactly how I played it in TBC for the most part. Just Berserk, spam, Mangle, have Maul macroed in, swipe when you're rage capped. And I'm not saying that this is in a bad way at all. Like Druid felt very solid, and it's a great thing to see every aspect of Druid have sort of some mastery and be wanted and desired here in Season of Discovery. They didn't innovate on it like we saw in these previous 5. Like the ones above Druid had massive innovations, had massive new roles that I think were home runs and did very, very well and were truly, truly enjoyable from my experience. And Druid just, it felt like they didn't get anything exciting. I mean, they got Fire Kitty, but you have to have Hannah Rag to do that. And Hannah Rag's most commonly dropped on Heat 3, which to do Heat 3 you still have to have the FR cap, so it's kind of a pain in the butt to get the Fire Cat. At this point I'd rather them just let you buy the item for 250 reals so you could be a Fire Kitty. But once again, Fire Kitty is just taken from Cataclysm. It's nothing super exciting or like groundbreaking, but like the others have. So that's why I put Druid at B tier. Still love Druid. I've loved everything they've done with it. It's just kind of nothing new that's like, oh yeah, this is fantastic, this is a SOD exclusive, that really jumped out to me and I got to play around with. Then Rogue, I'm putting at B tier just because they kind of didn't really change much other than the tanking spec, and the tanking spec for rogues has been either the biggest hit or miss spec that they have had in this entire game. Rogue tanking just doesn't really work that well, in my opinion, without giving them their own talent tree. Rogue as a class is just not designed with tanking in mind and all the stuff they had to add. So like every tank ability had to be a rune, and for Rogue tank to be good and great, they either have to dodge every single attack or they have to do insane amounts of DPS, and it just was always up and down and all over the place. So that's why I have it at B tier. DPS wise, it did great, but it does great in Classic. You know, it's warriors, then it's rogues. They did do some stuff with the poison spec and saber slash and adding a cool sort of like pirate theme. They tried it a little bit, but they didn't really go full on out like outlaw rogue is in retail. It just pretty much they just took a lot of TBC and Raft things. Same with Druid for its DPS specs, and then the tanking rogue just it just doesn't. It just really feels like the most clunky and mess. Like every single blue post I read, they're adjusting tanking rogue. Like I straight up think it got the most adjustments in all of Season of Discovery for being either the really, really best or the worst. And it just, I think if they want to go forward with a tanking rogue in the future, they really need to give it its own talent tree. That's just what I think it needs to actually work and not completely obliterate the DPS specs in the same time. Because when Rogue Tank was shining, it was also the far above DPS tanking spec, which kind of matters for like parsing and speedruns and stuff like that. Or like on Calderon and Lillian Voss, a Rogue Tank can just dodge everything right now, which makes them super niche and super good. But it's like Druid Bears kind of already have that role, so it's like, do we even need another just pure dodge tank? Like, I don't know. But anyway, let's talk about the next one. So Priest, I have been in between on Priest, but because of what they did with Shadow, I really think it goes in B tier. So they did some awesome utilizations of Shadow Priest, and they brought its utility into Classic to the point where it was, instead of, I just need a Shadow for my Warlocks to do damage, if you even brought a caster group and Warlocks, it was way more, hell yes, let's have Priest's Blast and Priest's embrace that utility role. And I think that was a key thing to Season of Discovery. And we brought so many Shadow Priests, and we utilized them a ton in our raids. Healing Priest, though, they got cool new runes and things. Nothing really jumped out as like an OP healer spell. Like they got Pittance at level 1, which was cool, but like that's a Wrath spell, or I think it's a TBC spell actually. But the point is they didn't really innovate too hard on the Priest like they did in the ones that ranked higher than it. But I still overall think that Priest was cool with its utility, but it just nothing that super jumped out to me that was like, yes, absolutely, this is fantastic and amazing. Then finally at the bottom we have Warriors. So Warriors have just been low DPS for most of SOD. They didn't get anything cool or new all of SOD, and while they are the heroes of Classic WoW normally, as you see with Anniversary and everyone going crazy with Warriors, they just really aren't that, like, they aren't that super number one in SOD, and they've just kind of been lackluster. Sunder Armor is replaced by Homunculi or Exposed Armor. And they didn't get anything amazing. Like the coolest thing I think they got was the secret agent stuff, which everyone can now do. Like that was the coolest thing that they got, but now it is available to every single class and role and spec, and I think that is something that should be taken into account. But it just wasn't crazy or exciting. They could have given them a heroic leap, they could have given them Titan's grip, they could have given them Blade Storm, they could have given them so many iconic, awesome warrior amazing abilities, but instead they got a meat hook, which is essentially death grip. But anyway, just my thoughts and opinions on Season of Discovery as a whole, reflecting on these classes, these roles, where they landed, what I liked and what I didn't like. And once again, this has nothing to do with where they are on a meter. This has nothing to do with how meta or how not meta they are. This is just the roles, the ideas, how the class is played, and how much I personally enjoyed most of them, because I have played every single one to some degree. as well as read on them and covered most of them in some manner throughout Season of Discovery. But anyway, guys, I truly hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to hear what your thoughts and opinions are on all of these awesome specs and roles in Season of Discovery. And until next time, I'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Hey, you. Yes, you. Are you still there? Well, I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this entire video and making it to the end here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely check out the other videos about World of Warcraft listed in these playlists down below. And thank you again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.